Hello and welcome to my reaction to Terrobytes, the evolution of horror gaming. So this is a documentary, or part of a PlayStation documentary that I've been sent by a few mates. And you guys know, if you've watched the channel for a while, how much I absolutely adore horror movies, but more importantly, horror games. I'm going into this completely blind, so I don't know really what it's about, apart from the fact that I assume we're going to talk about the old school PlayStation 1 and horror games and how it really dealt with being on that platform of the PlayStation 1. So without further ado, guys, let's crack on with the reaction. Terrobytes, the evolution of horror gaming. There were some absolute classics on the PlayStation 1 though in terms of horror one. It's got to talk about Silent Hill, it's got to talk about Resident Evils, maybe a bit of Dino Crisis. The Shapes, 1997. Ooh.
So I would say horror on the PS1 was shaped by the console's technical limitations in some really interesting ways. One of them was the idea of pre-rendered backgrounds.
Oh yes.
The idea that there was not enough juice in that machine to do proper 3D backgrounds.
Didn't they used to do with Silent Hill? I remember reading it in like a book or something. It's probably on the internet nowadays, I guess. Where Silent Hill actually originally had the idea to use fog because they couldn't, like, they didn't have the power behind the graphics to make it look like scary or anything, so they used fog just to cover up so they didn't have to like pre-render the background and stuff. Let me know in the comments if you ever heard that, or if it's just my brain tucking some shiznizzle. Let's carry on.
The PlayStation was a 3D console capable of rendering games with full polygons.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world.
The cost of making that happen, and at the point in which Resident Evil was released, which is early on in the PlayStation's life cycle, when developers weren't as familiar with the hardware.
Oh god, the tank controls were dreadful.
Backgrounds.
The way we're going to create the illusion of 3D is that once your character hits a certain point, we are going to cut to a different shot.
It's so clever. It's like so clever that they ever thought of that. Like, looking back on it now, it's absolutely shocking, and some of the games are hard to play. Let's be honest, if you're an original Resident Evil fan, you've got to be honest with yourselves, and it is a little bit difficult to play. But back then, revolutionary, guys. Unbelievably cool.
Like, maybe this one shot is overhead, and then this camera cuts, and the next shot, the character is now facing the camera. You see precisely what the game wants you to see. Like, it's not even a workaround for limitations, it's limitation causing genuine, creatively brilliant decisions. Then, of course, infamously, you have the Mist of Silent Hill.
This is what I'm on about. They're going to talk about the Mist. That it just covers up it being a little bit shit.
That first generation PlayStation had a draw distance of about 2 feet in front of your nose before you get pop-up or, you know, artifacts and things happening. So they solved that, and they just brought the fog plane like right there. And then they were like, wow, that's actually scary to move through that. And I feel like that must have been the aha moment where Silent Hill was born.
I never played the original Silent Hill. The remake, though, ooh, the remake was decent. Why don't they remake the original Silent Hill and the original Resident Evil, to be fair?
最初はやっぱりさっき言ったバイオハザードが登場してきて、あ、すごいホラーゲームっていうジャンルがまだホラーゲームっていうジャンルが出来上がる多分前だと思うんですけど、ああいう恐怖をテーマにした作品を作ろうっていうことになって、サイレントヒルっていうのがチームが出来上がって。
It looks so janky now, doesn't it?
My first experience in the Silent Hill world was my co-writer Patrick had picked up this game, and I remember watching Patrick play this game where he's walking through the fog, and he keeps walking through fog, and you hear a dog bark. And you come around a corner, and you can't see more than 10 feet in front of you. And I'm like, this is terrifying.
That looks really good though. Like, when you actually think about like the cutscenes on the PlayStation, they actually look really, really good. Like, some CGI movies look worse than the PS1, which is mind blowing when you think about what they had to work with. But alas, creativity, like that guy said.
the very first 5 minutes of the game are amazing. You see this disparate group of images, you hear this guitar twang playing this theme song, and you don't know, like, are we watching a flash forward, a flashback? What's reality? Because sometimes we're in the car with Harry and Cheryl, and sometimes we're like seeing the nurse and all these other things, and then we see Sybil, we crash. And then there's a guy named Harry, and he's just literally on a street, and off you go.
It's one of the games that's both visually horror and narrative horror at the same time. It's one of the very few games that actually does a really good job of that. I love my Resident Evil. Resident Evil is awesome, but it is basically, this guy is an even bigger demon than the last one. How am I going to take him down? Silent Hill, on the other hand, is...
What is this?
Oh my gosh, this thing is going to affect me deeply for the next few days.
At a time where scary games were kind of more about gore, or it was gun-based violence and shooters and things like that, Silent Hill just made this like very slow burn, slow paced, very claustrophobic, psychological horror game that clearly just rang everybody's bell in the horror genre.
I'd seen.
I will say, like, about the... Well, I'm only going to talk about the Silent Hill 2 remake because I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've played the PS1 versions, but yeah, psychological thriller is terrifying in Silent Hill, and they do design the games perfectly around that. The only problem I always have with horror games in general is the replayability. So with Resident Evil, when they go more into action, I think those types of games like the 4 remake have shitloads more replayability, but I guess potato, let's carry on.
Games that had stuff that assaulted you and stuff that attacked you and monsters and whatnot, but I'd never seen a game that was relying on the absence of danger to be dangerous. So much of what makes Silent Hill so creepy is what you don't see. It's the sound design, it's the fact that you can't see that far in front of you. It's
like a bumhole.
what could be around the corner that maybe never is. That's what makes Silent Hill so terrifying.
I'm so scared. Help me.
Silent Hill was a game about just fucking nightmares. It was a game about you can't go back to this thing that once was. And in the case of Silent Hill 1, it's this idea of memories. This little girl's memories that slowly become corrupted after she went through all these awful things, and you are now experiencing them.
No, I don't want to. Do what Mommy tells you now.
It felt dark, and it felt horrifying, and it felt personal. You know, it felt like something that was made by people that are hurting. Like, you know, people that were struggling in their own way. It just became so distinctive and beautiful to anything else that was coming out on the PlayStation at the time. It wasn't a mascot platformer. It wasn't that edgy brand of PS1 game. As much as it was told, be a clone of Resident Evil, it didn't feel like anything else. And it's, to this day, a fucking incredible game.
So there we go. That was more about Silent Hill. I didn't realize it was so Silent Hill heavy. Obviously, like I said, I've not played that, so I can't really comment on that. But I agree. The Silent Hill games are completely different to Resident Evil. But horror, I've made a video about horror and talking about how different styles of horror work. So if you would like to go check that out, I'll put a card at the end of this video. But yeah, I think this is a clip, so I'm hoping there's more to this documentary. And if there is more, I will do some more reaction videos to it. But thank you so much for watching. I've been Reese. You guys have been fantastic. Please hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming reactions, and let us know what you think in the comment section. If you have played Silent Hill, that'd be mint. Let us know what you thought about that. Anyway, cheers. Peace.